to the team at Red Cloud for the opportunity to present today. This is the first time we've come up to North America to talk about our Australian uranium project. So thanks for your interest in what we're doing down there. This is our usual disclaimer, which I urge everyone to read at their own leisure. This presentation's been uploaded on the ASX platform and also our company website. So we're exploring for uranium, and we're exploring for large-scale, high-grade uranium, typically called unconformity uranium deposits. However, we're not exploring in the Athabasca Basin. Everyone's talking about that at the moment. We're exploring in the other basin that was made famous through discovery and mining in Australia and in the Northern Territory, termed the McArthur Basin. This is a very well-endowed basin, and if I can leave people with a couple of points as a result of our messaging, is that we have a very large ground holding up here in the Northern Territory exploring for these styles of deposits, and this is a very well-endowed terrain. We're on the ground and we're doing work. Over the last 6 months, we've been drilling holes and getting uranium intercepts up here in this well-endowed terrain. And this year, we've got a lot of work to do with following up on those results and a lot more drilling. So if you're looking at DevEx on the ASX platform, you're looking at companies actually out there doing work and getting results. And there's not a lot of us out there doing that work on the ASX platform. So keep us in mind, but just take you through the results that we've been doing over the last 6 months and where we're heading. So as the image shows you, that's the region. We've got about 10,000 square kilometres of ground there, both early stage greenfields to the south and also to the north where we're more advanced, following up around a very well-endowed terrain. Just zooming in on the northern area, which is generally termed the Alligator Rivers Uranium Province. And again, it's a uranium province for good measure. There's over 600 million pounds of uranium that has either been mined or is defined in current resources. These are very large deposits overall, very, very valuable deposits to be honest with you. So where we're located, and you can see all the big deposits there, there's the major ones like Jabiluka and Ranger located just inside the national park. Our tenure is all the blue. The dark blue is granted. The red little outline, I'll zoom in on that soon, is our mining lease, the Nabarlek mining lease. So we're centred on the historical Nabarlek uranium mine, which was mined in the 1980s, 24 million pounds at a grade just shy of 2% uranium from Nabarlek. And we're exploring around that Nabarlek deposit itself, or what was a mine. And everyone's talked about the Athabasca and the models and the unconformity style models, and we've got our own models too, and they're pretty similar, as people would appreciate. You've got the yellow rock, which is the unconformity, or the sandstone that sits over the top, and then you have uranium located both at that unconformity, but more importantly and most interestingly is in the structures that sit in the basement rocks. So again, you talk about the Athabasca Basin, the big deposits like NextGen's Arrow or Rourke deposit, or some of the other new deposits that have been found over the last 10 years. They're here too. You've got big deposits like Jabiluka, which ERA hold, that's 300 million pounds of uranium at 0.5%. You've got other deposits like Coronation Hill, or the big one Ranger, which obviously was mined, 45 years of mining activity at a grade of 0.2% and 300 million pounds produced. So you've got huge scale in this region, opportunity for big deposits, and that's what we're exploring for. And of course in the centre is the little Nabarlek deposit, which produced 24 million pounds at almost 2%. And we're still exploring for that because we want to find more of it. Go forward. So a quick snapshot of where we are and where we're most active. This is the mining lease at Nabarlek itself, and where our exploration camp is, and the beautiful airstrip, which we have a team out there at the moment, and we land planes on there, and you can bring a pretty big plane in onto that airstrip. That was built for Nabarlek itself. And as the terrain will show you, this is not mountainous country. This doesn't need helicopters to move your drill rigs around. You're not waiting for the land to freeze. It's wet season, dry season, but that airstrip gives us a lot of advantage to keep going if we need to. The uranium price, you don't need me to explain anything about that, but a key point of that is that we bought this project back in 2008. We liked the opportunity because of the lack of exploration out there. We spent probably about $18 to $20 million between buying the project and through to Fukushima in 2011. And with discoveries that were coming on board with that. We were exploring in a joint venture with Cameco, and we were getting great results. And of course, with the downturn in the industry, everything got put on the shelf and the dust got settled on those prospects. Cameco withdrew from this region to focus on their own operations, which were put on care and maintenance. So for us, this is a great time to be exploring, and we're already doing it, and that's what we've been focused on. So the map that you're seeing there, the red outline is the Nabarlek mining lease itself. All the little colourful dots, the magenta and the red, they're all uranium intercepts from RC or diamond drill holes already out there, and that's what we've been blowing the dust off with getting started here. So there's a lot to do, and so we became quite focused on key priority targets. Obviously, drilling inside of the mining lease and drilling north and south of the Nabarlek pit itself was a priority number one, and that's what we've been doing. And as bullet point 2 will show, we're now getting uranium intercepts to the north of the mine. Their grades, and I can't read it anymore, but I think it's about 13 metres at just short of 0.3% uranium, or 6 pounds per tonne uranium. So the important thing there is from 41 metres. So we're not 200 metres down, we're not 300 metres down, we're very close to surface, and that's where the unconformity sits. So we're actually exploring an area that's quite stripped, and that gives us that ability to explore for those sort of grades, and they're good grades, to be honest. It's 6 pounds per tonne is a pretty good intercept for over 13 metres. So we're exploring that area, and then also to the north, to the top right of the page, we followed up on a previous Cameco intercept that we were in joint venture with just before Fukushima turned up, where at U40 prospect, a drill intercept of 6 metres at 7% was intersected. And then when those results came through in December 2010, everyone was really excited about what 2011 would offer, and unfortunately the rug got pulled courtesy of a downturn in the uranium cycle. So Cameco withdrew, this project was shelved, we blew the dust off it over the last sort of 12 months, and so we've been pretty active out here. So the maps you're seeing was one, there's a map on the left-hand side showing what we've been drilling up there at U40 and the results that we've been getting. So this slide deck's outside if you want to have a look, or get online and have a look at these intercepts. But we've taken something from being a very small pinprick of drilling intercepts, and we've now expanded over 500 metres of uranium intercepts. All of those intercepts there, bar one, have all been focused on the top 100 metres. We've been drilling from 0 to about 100 metres of vertical distance, and we're trying to understand it. Don't misunderstand me. We're actually learning as we drill here. We have moved this out, and we're now starting to see, okay, we've got a steep zone and we've got a flat dipping zone as per that cross section. We're seeing high grades and we're seeing broader lower grades, and we're still getting to understand what this means. I think what we're most encouraged with is, besides these results, is we also felt, well, what does this system look like at depth? And the last drill hole we drilled at this program in late November, we stepped out and we drilled a deep hole, which is that intercept that you see down there on that section on RC220, where we intercepted 5 metres at over 0.5% uranium from 257 metres down the hole. So it's a nice sign. If you go back and think about those models, we're looking for big scale projects, and having a drill hole like that sitting there as one of the last holes that we actually drilled means a lot to what we want to be doing for 2024 drill campaign. And look, this is another way of presenting it as a long section. To the right is obviously the north, and the south is obviously to the left. The unconformity is that yellow rock. So again, you've seen this from the Athabasca Basin. You've got uranium hugging the unconformity. Intercepts like that previous one from Cameco at 6 metres, 7% is there. We've just grown north and south of that with what we've been drilling here. We're seeing a shallowly plunging uranium zone continuing to the south. It looks to be still open. We're getting lots of intercepts, generally around 0.2 to sort of 0.8%, a couple over 1% as we're going. But this is the top 100 metres. And then that last drill hole, which is that lovely little red or magenta dot right down the bottom left-hand side, it changes the scale of how we think about this prospect up here at U40. So we're excited about that. It's one hole, obviously. Doesn't make an ore body yet, but it gives us the ability to go in there and say, well, 2024 is shaping up to a big drill program up here. And, our budgets here are difficult to constrain given that we get our results as we drill. So last year, that 6 months of that drilling, we started out with a 50 drill hole budget out there, and we wanted to drill 50 holes, and we ended up drilling 250 holes. We just kept going. The rigs kept going, and we were able to do that because drilling is cheaper than up here in the north. It's certainly costing us about $60 to $70 a metre to drill these holes with an RC rig, a little bit more expensive with diamond, but that gives us the ability to come at this with a shotgun and really blast away at these deposits, because we're learning as we drill, and we'd rather not be surgical about this. Let's just go and sort it out. So we've still got to do all the geochemistry. We've still got to look at boron. We've got to look at all of these sort of signs and telltale signs, and we're waiting for these results. But the key to us is actually just following the intercepts that we're getting right now, and we'll work it out as we get there. I wouldn't stop there, but I'd like to just go ahead and talk about the mining lease and where we're also active, and bearing in mind that this is a mining lease that's granted. It was put in place for Nabarlek back in 1979, 1980. Nabarlek was mined, and that's the pit in the centre where that little black bubble box is pointing into. The colourful image is ground gravity. We did that last year. Nobody's been onto this area and actually done ground gravity, and what we're seeing and what it's doing for us is we can see these faults where the uranium is moving along. All of these uranium intercepts previously suddenly fall into context where we're seeing nice magenta dots which represent, you know, uranium grades in RC drilling or diamond drilling on faults, moving to other faults, moving to things that look to be quite anomalous as far as where we want to drill. So to the north, we saw that area up in the northern side, and we went off and drilled. I think there's 4 or 5 bubble boxes up there on the top showing uranium intercepts, 30 to 40 metres of results there. So, 30, 40 metres of depth, seeing those sort of uranium results. And again, we're chasing it towards the pit rather than away from the pit. We got those results, and now we realise we need to keep drilling inside of the mining lease. So that's looking good. And then to the south of Nabarlek, we've also got uranium intercepts there. So, you know, we do have a portfolio of drill hole intercepts that we're trying to constrain and say which is the best ones to drill, where do we want to go? And this is looking to shape up to be several years of pretty busy drilling. Naturally, our core goal is to deliver a meaningful and sizable resource for out here, and you know, that's what we're hoping to see with the drilling activity we want to do this year. The last part of where we are is we're explorers by heart, and we like growing things, and we like growing our business. And as Mark was up before me talking about, you know, Westmoreland and where that's going, and it looks exciting. We're also like that area down there. This is the southern side of the MacArthur Basin. We see opportunity in this region, and we see that the work that's previously been done in this area has been only very preliminary, and we want to get out there and explore the Westmoreland conglomerate, or what we believe to be the Westmoreland conglomerate at that unconformity. We've got 5,000 square kilometres of ground there. We're exploring that region. We plan to be flying radiometrics out there. We're really looking for the low-hanging fruit. We're looking for radiometric anomalies together with various structural targets, and then we can get boots on the ground. So we plan to be doing this work down here later this year when it dries up. So sometime around May, we plan to have a plane out there flying a lot of radiometrics and a lot of magnetics to bring some targets home, we hope. Corporately, DevEx is an ASX company. We've got importantly, we've got $21 million in the bank. That money gives us the ability to maintain momentum. For us, it's all about drilling momentum and what we need to do. We're getting the results and knowing that we can take some risks. We don't have to be as surgical as we need to. We can go out there and we can throw a wider net with the drilling that we like to do, and having that cash gives us that capability. We can react, we can keep the rigs on site, we can keep drilling as we go. So that's really important for DevEx, and definitely for this year coming forward. We're supported by a great substantial shareholders, including obviously our chairman, Tim Gorder, who people from Australia would know well, but Tim's been involved with a number of spectacular successes, including his involvement with Liontown and lithium discoveries. Tim's all about discoveries, and it's all about the drill holes and making those discoveries by drilling holes, and it's as obvious as that. Behind the board, naturally, we've got a big geological team of technicians and geologists that are supporting us and doing the hard work. So look, I think I could leave it there and just point out that it's really about the drill rig, and that's why and what we plan to be doing this year. We do the work. You only have to look at the last 6 months of activity to see where we're going. If we're on the right path, you know, pay attention to what we're doing up there in the Northern Territory. All right, thanks. Thanks, David.